thanks for joining us. What's this? It's the old cheap bolt body. Why is the old cheap bolt body up here? And why is it next to Ugly Duckling? Are we going to put the cheap bolt body on Ugly Duckling? No, we're not. But we are going to do something here. I've wanted to put an interior in this truck body for a while, and I wanted to put a bomber interior in. Kind of like how Harley did with his truck. I even have the mounts that Harley had made, 3D printed these out, to put bomber interior in this truck. Axial being axial, bomber interior is unavailable everywhere. So it's not supposed to be available for a while still, so I decided, why does it have to be a bomber interior? I started looking around online and saw that, you know, maybe I'll use a Yeti Score interior. I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? I have the old cheap bolt body in the back. I wonder if I can put the Deadbolt interior into the Toyota SR5 body and just use these brackets. Couple little measurements and looking at it, I believe I can. So we're going to follow along here and see if I can do this or not. So let's find out. First thing I got to do is I'm going to have to remove the roll cage. That's the first thing, get it out of the way, because it will not fit, because the angle here is a lot different than here. So even chopping it up, I don't believe would fit. But let me show you something real quick though. A couple quick measurements I did do, just visual measurements, is the body width looks to be about right. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and get that roll cage out of the way. Okay, got the cage off the body. I washed it up, and now I need to figure out where I need to cut at. I believe I'm going to cut pretty far into the front of the body. This way I have enough overlap to go up underneath the hood of the Toyota body. I will have to cut the scoop off, of course, but this way it gives me enough room to Velcro onto the hood of the Toyota body. And I'm going to come down the sides probably to right about this body line right here. So how far back am I going to go? It looks like I only need to go back to about here. But I think I'm going to go ahead and just cut the whole back half out. I mean, pretty much just going to run this body anyway, so might as well go ahead and use all that I can. I never plan on using this body again, and it's starting to get a little thin and cracked up here on the front anyway. So, let's just go ahead and resurrect it. It's been sitting in the back room now for over a year, so let's put it to some use. Okay, I marked out my cut lines with blue tape. This way I can make sure I follow a nice straight line. Gives me something easier to see than that body line. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to take a drill bit. I'm going to drill a hole right here. So it gives me a nice round starting point. And then I'm going to take a set of my body scissors and cut down along this line. In places where my body scissors might not fit, I also have a fresh razor blade. And that's what I'm going to do to cut this around through here. You know what? Let's just use my razor blade. I think given the tightness of these cuts, this will be a much more effective method. You are welcome to use whatever method works for you. Now back here in the back, I'm not going to be careful about staying straight on the line because I know I'm not using this part back here. Just give it a score and there we go. That part's ready to snip off, so let's go ahead and just cut it out of the way. Okay, now let's go ahead and start over here. This up here will be a little bit harder to cut because of all the complex shapes. There's a lot of complex shapes in the hood of the Deadbolt, which is part of the reason I think I always liked the hood of the Deadbolt. I like that scoop look. Okay, let's see if that's enough of a score to break it. Nope, not quite. Sometimes you have to score it more than once. Or maybe just give it a little bit of a start. And this will be harder to break anyway because of that complex shape. There we go. I'll score the top of the scoop a little bit more. And down the side of the scoop. There we go. Now I need to cut the tape I had underneath here. I had the tape underneath here just to protect the body from rubs, from the inner fender, from dirt getting up in there and rubbing the paint off the inside of the body. Okay, there we go. Now the front is cut away. Now to do the other side. Okay, the side is cut away. I'm not even going to worry about the tailgate because we're not going to use it. I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of the scoop out. The scoop is now cut out. So the next thing is I'm going to cut the back of the body off. I'm going to go right through here, I believe. It's better to start farther back because I can always trim more off easier than I can add more to it. So I'm going to start right here behind this little hump and trim straight across the middle of the fuel cell there. Oh, we got the body cut off. Throw it aside. Now it's time for a test fit. Let's see how things go. Slide up inside the body. Well, it does fit. Looks like I need to trim more off the back because see the seat right here? It's a little too far forward. I need it back at least about what the pillar is. I think it'll look a bit better. You can see the dash up here in the windshield. It needs to come back just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do now. Looks like I need to trim off probably about the width of the fuel cell here. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim through right here at this bump right here now. Trim it off right across through there. Okay, we trimmed off actually quite a bit here. Trimmed it back to a little bit more than the front of the fuel cell there. So let's see now how she fits. Flip it over here and get it situated in here right. There we go. Now the driver's in about the right spot. So now what we need to do is figure out how we're going to mount our mounts. These are going to have to be mounted a little bit different than they would be on a bomber because this is not a bomber. So, let's see what we need to do here. We're going to come off this screw right here. So let's see, the mount will go like so. I think if we angle it though, we can put it into the side there where I left that side a little bit long. We can make the mount right into it. Just have to drill a hole through it and put a screw there. So I think that'll work pretty good. Looks like we'll have to put it up in there pretty far. Yeah, get the depth right. So let's go ahead and temporarily mount this and see how it looks. Now you can see right here, I have the mount screwed in, and it will line up perfectly with this rear poncho bed mount, with the cage mounts to the body. A little bit different than how you'd mount it if you had it on a bomber, but it works here perfectly for the Deadbolt body. There you can see this side here too. You also see where I had to patch the body before where it cracked. Still holding strong after all this time. So how does this look from the other side? Let's take a look. It's going to line up pretty well perfect. Yeah, that green kind of shows up there, but once that's painted black, you'll never notice it. The driver and the helmet will show up very, very well. So I guess the next stage now is to go ahead and pull these screws and do a solid test mount just to make sure I still like the way it looks. There we go. That's how she's going to fit. Fit is pretty good actually. So once that green is painted black, you won't be able to notice it as much. And I'll use some bright colors on the rest of the interior to draw attention to them. Kind of like how the guy's green helmet kind of draws attention to him. I do need to just do a little more trimming right in here. Just a little too snug for my tastes. But we'll trim that back a little bit because it's making this want to pull down right here in the front. And we'll trim this up right here in the front a little bit more too. And use Velcro to hold this in place. And that's all there is to it now. So that's what we'll do next is trim this up back here, and then paint the interior up. I don't know if I'm going to leave the guy's helmet green, or if we're going to go maybe with an orange to match some of the trim on the truck. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. This is also a good time to go ahead and test fit it onto the chassis to make sure there's no interference with anything like motor, speed controller, anything else you might have on your chassis. I am not putting a battery in it because my battery rides very low, so I'm sure it'll be okay. Famous last words. Since there's some flop there, I'm going to assume it's clearing good, but let's take a look. Oh yeah, plenty of clearances. See if you can see that up in there. Doesn't come close to hitting anything. And as a little bit of added scale look, we'll paint the bottom of the interior black instead of the white that the Deadbolt body comes on the inside. So when you look in the inside, you won't see the white glaring. So next up, like I said, was we will pull it off, trim it up just a little bit more, and then paint it up so it matches better with this body. All right, we moved along this far. I have the base coats down. I've painted the green down the sides here black, some silver on. Now to add some more detailing to it. I left this part green because that's where the Velcro is going to go, and this way I don't have to worry about the Velcro pulling off the paint if it happens to flex. Interior is fully painted and detailed up, ready to go into the truck, hopefully permanently. Added a few little details to it. I had a couple holes in the dash here where I had switches before. I made them into cup holders. I added an actual 3D shifter here instead of the little decal. We needed man's best friend to tag along, so we put a small little puppy over here in the passenger seat. An extra helmet in case we have a person friend riding along. and some empty cans in the back. Next up is just put some Velcro up here on the front of it and get it firmly attached into the cab. Speaking of the cab, I did add something to the cab. Let me show you this. On the cab itself, on the back window, I added a gun rack and a shotgun from the axial sprue and detail sprue there. Around here, it seems like all the old Toyotas have a gun rack in the back window, so why not? Okay, let's get this interior mounted securely into its new home. Here's a little look under the body. As you can see up front here, it is just Velcroed in. Double-sided Velcro stuck onto the pieces, and then just Velcro holding it in. And back here are those 3D printed mounts. Just screwed into the mounts that hold the honcho bed onto the cab. And then into the side of the deadbolt body of what's left. Nice, simple, effective. Holds nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. The deadbolt into Proline SR5 Toyota body install is now complete. As you can see, it adds a great scale detail to the truck. And this is a nice, simple, easy thing to do. So, gets me some extra points now. And just makes the truck look so much better than looking in the windows and seeing the motor and transmission, or tinting the windows and just seeing a sea of black. Got a little pooch there looking out the window. He doesn't look amused though. So got it from the other side. And here we can see the driver. He's kind of looking out to the side here. Maybe he's looking to see where to go next on the trail. So I just wanted to give you another option, another idea of a way to maybe to add some interior to your body on your truck. Maybe you have an old deadbolt body laying around from, maybe you started out with a deadbolt for your vehicle and added a different body. This is a nice way to add some interior to it and make it stand out. Get those extra points. Well, we come to the conclusion of this little project. It was a nice, simple, easy, fun thing to do. We added interior to this truck, made it look a lot better. Wanted to show you the steps of how you could easily add interior to your crawler. We used just this old deadbolt interior as another option of a way to add interior. Deadbolt bodies are easy to come by. You might have one laying around, or a friend might. So that makes them really quite simple and cheap to come by. Because a lot of times the deadbolt bodies will bust up here in the front corners or the rear corners, so the bodies aren't any good anyway. But the interior part, it stays pretty well intact. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. This truck right here is getting ready to get a transmission upgrade, so stay tuned for that. Feel free to like this video, comment down below with any questions you have. We try to answer any of them that you might send our way. Also follow us on Instagram. We post a lot of pictures there, like this interior build here. We posted pictures as we went along on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. And until next time, happy RCing.